Well, Mets got the sweep today. How about that? The New York Mets sweep the Philadelphia Phillies. And that is right. We got the broom out today, boys. Just had to do a little, of course, cleaning the room, get that Philly stench out of here. But what is going on, everyone? Mets talk with Hayden here. And that is right. The Mets, they got the sweep this series. Let's ride. All right, had to do that. I said that all the times I've had this channel, and the Mets have got a sweep. I've never done anything like that, so figured it was about time I actually finally got a broom. So, yeah, happy to do that. Obviously, it was a very much needed series win, but I guess as you guys should be able to tell already, the Mets were fortunate enough to sweep the three-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and I'm absolutely thrilled about that. Yeah, but what is going on, everyone? Mets talk with Hayden here. Hopefully, everyone is doing extremely well. I'm most certainly doing well today, and we got a lot of great stuff to talk about in today's stream. Everything from going over to the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series summary, summarizing really just good, not much bad and ugly for the most part. Then, of course, we are going to jump into the New York Mets and the Toronto Blue Jays series previewing that, what to expect, pitching matchups, offenses for both teams. Kind of both teams are in a very similar situation. I think they have the same exact record too, so that could be something interesting to explore. And then, of course, we're going to go into some of your guys' comments, questions, concerns, anything related to the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, and anything really baseball oriented. We are going to be going over that. So, yeah, hopefully everyone is doing well. Like I said, everyone smash that like button, turn on the post notifications, tell your friends about the channel, and of course, all much more. So, yeah. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. But in today's stream, we are going to be going over that stuff. So before we get into that, everyone smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, tell your friends about this channel, subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, as I said, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. But let's get right into it. As the Mets were able to sweep three-game set against the Philadelphia Phillies, or the Philadelphia Phillies, I should say. My apologies. As going into game one, which was Tuesday's game. Obviously, the Mets had off for Memorial Day Monday. The Mets were lucky enough to start off the series with a win. Any good ball team needs to start off a series with a win. As stated, the Mets won this game by a score of 2-0. Kodai Senga with another dominant outing. I would say arguably, that Tampa Bay outing was pretty dominant, but this was just absolutely insane. Kodai Senga, 7 innings, only 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts, 100 pitches. So Senga with the 7-inning one-hitter, Senga dominated. The Phillies lineup just could not figure this guy out. They were not able to get in sync with the ghost forkball. That was a lethal, deadly pitch, and we've said it on this channel enough. But that's a pitch that half of MLB just still can't figure out how to hit because it's such an unorthodox use of a cutter and other stuff as a combination that no one can figure out how to hit it. And Senga's throwing it in the strike zone. So even if they can't swing at it, it's still going to be a borderline strike or a letter high strike that they're still going to be called out on it. So I think that's what makes this such a lethal pitch. He's adjusting to it still as the season goes on. He's adding upgrades to it and all that great stuff. So yeah, Senga is by far just a lethal, deadly pitcher. And we saw it this outing, 7 innings. And you know how he is on home. His home splits are phenomenal. We'll talk about the away splits, of course, later. But really, tip of the cap to Kodai Senga because he really went out there and he battled, he grinded. A lot of swinging and misses. The Phillies lineup was chasing way outside the zone. And, this is the Phillies lineup that is not doing well right now. But Senga made them look much worse than what they actually have been doing lately. Obviously, going 7 innings, that's good because that means your bullpen doesn't have to do as much work. And I'm happy about that. And, well, what did they do? Well, obviously, like I said, 7 innings, you won't have to use a lot of your bullpen. So, in result, Adam Ottavino came in for an inning, giving up a walk and a strikeout. Really got lucky with, obviously, we know Ottavino is a guy who is not good with pickoffs. Realmuto went to run on him, and then, of course, behind the plate, Alvarez threw him out, and that really set the tone for the Phillies, really for the rest of the game, I think you could say. So, super happy that that happened, and then David Robertson came in to close it. Of course, the Mets, They always like a little drama. Ninth inning, Robertson came into the close, save situation, giving up a hit and a strikeout. So Robertson looked pretty good. This is his ninth save on the season. Kodai Senga with his fifth win on the season. But taking a look at the offense, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of offense, but when your pitching holds down the fort and keeps you in the ball game, pretty good chance of winning. Stated the Mets only scored 2 runs, 6 hits. Obviously, the only run really needed was in the fourth inning when Francisco Lindor had a solo home run to left center, 403 feet. And I tell you, he bats as a righty. And what happens when he bats as a righty? Look at the splits. Lindor batting as a righty versus the lefty. He is much, much, I mean, I don't want to say the word better, but the stats are nice, are much cleaner and look more nicer as him batting as a righty. Good to see Lindor with that. And then obviously in the seventh inning, Eduardo Escobar gives the Mets a little bit of insurance as he has an RBI single to bring in Starling Marte to make this a 2-0 game. Mets win this game 2-0. Getting into game 3, like I said, Mets did what they needed to do. Carlos Cookie Carrasco with another great outing. Obviously, Carrasco coming out with back-to-back outings, and you can see with Carrasco, he looks more of himself now. Carrasco, 6 innings, 6 hits, a run, a walk, and 4 strikeouts, 82 pitches. So, Carrasco could have went a little bit longer, but, Buck said, give it a rest. Obviously, he had the bone chips removed, and, make an argument that's a big part to why he's been dealing now. He's not giving up a lot of hard contact. The barrels, he's not giving up many barrels. Location's been fine, great. I mean, even if it was off, the Phillies are chasing way outside the zone. So, if anything, that helped Carrasco's argument. Mixed up his pitches really nicely. You could argue that. The cutter was definitely a nice pitch from him. His fastball looked decent. His velocity didn't really change drastically throughout the game. We know that's something that even happened in the last outing. Obviously he's not going to be throwing 100 miles per hour, in the first or in the fifth inning, but, he was keeping it, 93, 94 for majority of the game. And yeah, I mean, that's really all you could say. So really tip of the cap to Cookie Carrasco for turning it around. Obviously 2 outings since, and he's been looking good. But like I said, I'm not going to, be like, oh, Carrasco's back, but there's, definitely some good emotions going on with Cookie. If Carrasco could really start to turn it around, I mean, you could expect some good stuff coming from the Mets. Yeah, obviously, Brooks Raley came in for an inning and a third of relief. He's been really, really good since returning from the IL. 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. So he's really been a big part to this team's success. I said earlier in the season, I mean, I could see this guy being like an Aaron Boop of the 2021 Mets. Adam Ottavino, 2/3 of an inning, strikeout, only 6 pitches, so quick outing for him. And then David Robertson with the save situation in the 9th again, an inning, a hit, and 2 strikeouts. So yeah, pitching really held down the fort, only giving up a run, 9 hits to the Phillies, and Phillies got a lot of guys in runners in scoring position. Couldn't get them in, and the Mets have been horrible in those situations, but this series they were great with that. Obviously, Carrasco with the 2nd win on the season. Robertson with his 10th save on the season. Looking at the offense, it was not a lot, but hey, it was the Mark Canha show. Mark Canha Corn provided all the Mets offense. Obviously, in the 3rd inning, Mark Canha had a 2-run homer to left center to bring in himself and Daniel Vogelbach. And that's essentially really all the Mets needed. And then in the 4th inning, to give him a little bit of insurance, Mark Canha had a 2-run RBI single to bring in Pete Alonso and Brett Beatty. So, like I said, this was really all the Mets needed. Like I said, low offense, but they won the game, and that's all that matters. Like I said, Mets win game 2, 4-1. And then getting into game 3 in the final game of this 3-game set to go for the sweep, the Mets win this game by a score of 4-2. Mad Max Scherzer was on the bump, and boy, Scherzer really needed this outing. I mean, once again, this dude has been phenomenal in his last 4 outings. Scherzer, 7 innings, 5 hits, a run, a walk, 9 strikeouts, 101 pitches. Tip of the cap to Scherzer. I mean, talk about really how Scherzer has turned it around. His last 4 appearances have been great. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But really, tip of the cap to Scherzer. Scherzer's a guy who is just, he's a veteran, he's professional, but he's so competitive. And in some scenario, he's really going to struggle. Scherzer's the guy I think who would be willing to chop off his arm or his finger to be a better ball player. So I mean, he's a guy that I really do respect. Really, really turned it around. Scherzer did that. Scherzer looked good. First inning, a little bit of struggle, but really turned it around and was just able to dial in. His fastball was borderline strike zone. His slider was dropping really nicely. So that's average fastball slider pitch right there, but it looked good. Velo was good there. Mixed up the pitches, threw the changeup periodically. A lot of swinging and misses from this Phillies lineup. As you can see, 9 strikeouts. That's the season high for him so far this year. So, yeah, tip of the cap to Scherzer. Obviously, Jeff Brigham came in for an inning of relief. Brigham looked pretty good. Strikeout. Brooks Raley came in for 2 batters, giving up or 2/3 of an inning for 3 batters, giving up a hit and 2 strikeouts. And then, this is kind of a silly save, but for 1 batter, 1 pitch, Drew Smith gets the save. Obviously, 2 out in the 9th inning. The tying run up at plate. Buck Showalter goes to put in the righty. Drew Smith, who throws 1 pitch and gets a fly ball out to Nimmo. So probably one of the shortest saves in Mets history. But yeah, like I said, Scherzer gets his 5th win on the season, and then Smith gets his 2nd save on the season. In terms of the offense, wasn't a lot, but hey, it did the job. 4 runs, 4 hits. Getting started with the offense in the 3rd inning, Jeff McNeil does what he does best, and he comes into clutch. As Jeff McNeil had an RBI single to center to bring in Brandon Nimmo. Heading on into the 4th inning, Mark Canha once again says it's the Mark Canha show this week, and Mark Canha has a 2-run homer to left center to bring in himself and Starling Marte. So it really, really goes to show you how important power is, and we've been seeing, it a lot. Canha really, in spring training and in the offseason, showed that he wanted to change up his footing so he could generate more power, more line drives, and we're seeing it. And if Canha could start to go on, listen, I don't think he's going to go on this home run tear, but if he could really start, going for extra base hits and hitting the ball hard, watch out. Because he's a hard guy to get out. And then in the 6th inning, for some insurance, Mark Vientos, fundamental baseball, has a sac fly to center to bring in Brett Baty. So yeah, Mets win this game 4-2. The Mets sweep the 3-game set against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets looked good. Like I said, back-to-back quality starts. You had a quality start from Senga, Carrasco, and Scherzer. And I cannot say it enough. Pitching wins championships. I said it 1,000 times. If this Mets pitching staff came in and went 3 1/3, 4 1/3, 5 innings, and gave up like 5-6 runs, yeah, it's going to be hard to win ball games. And I think the fact is your starters went long into these games. I mean, you saw 7 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings. That's huge because we talked about how overburdened and overtaxed this bullpen is so far on June 2nd. And I think if you have guys going 7 innings, well, that means you have to, that means you are going to see less of Steven Nagosuk and Drew Smith and all the other crappy relievers. And that means, maybe just the 8th inning, you go Raley, Ottavino, and then boom, Roberts in the 9th. And then, but if, your starter's only going 4 or 5 innings, then yeah, you got to worry about who's going to get the 5th, who's going to get the 6th, who's going to get the 7th, the 8th, and then the 9th. That's why it's really important that this team goes out there. Listen, I'm not saying that it needs to be a quality start each time, but if they can go out there and give you 6, 7 innings, I am thrilled. And then let the offense do their job. The Mets are 16-0 when a starter goes 7 innings this year, and or 6 innings this year, and then they're 6-0 when they go 7 innings. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That's what we saw a lot last year. This isn't an offense right now that's going to score 30 runs a game. If you score 5 runs, when your pitching goes 6, 7 innings, you're probably going to win the game. So that's why I cannot exemplify enough how important it is for this pitching staff to do what they are doing. And it's looking good with Scherzer now. His last 4 appearances, 4 W's. He's given up 2 runs in the last 4 games. So Scherzer's looking good. Carrasco could, have a nice 3rd start. Maybe get some confidence on him. Senga is looking good. He just needs to figure out how to pitch on the road. McGill, I don't really know what to think of McGill. I'm just kind of saying, hey, where's Quintana? And then, Verlander, hopefully he can dial in and get what he's going to do. Otherwise, we could expect a lot. So now let's get into the Mets and Blue Jays series. So the Mets swept the Philadelphia Phillies as stated, and now they have a new challenge as the Toronto Blue Jays are coming into town, and they are going to be facing the New York Mets. Coming into this, the Mets are 30-27, 15-9 on the road. Obviously, 3-2 in their last 5. Obviously, won the 3-game series against the Phillies by sweeping them. So it's definitely some good confidence and morale booster there. Like I said, Mets right now, their pitching has been looking really good at home. As a whole, the Mets have been playing very well at home. I think they've won, their last 7, 8 games when playing at home. So that's definitely a good thing to say there, the home field advantage. And then the Toronto Blue Jays are also 30-27, 15-7 on the road. So not as great on the road. Obviously, they won the 3-game series against the Brewers, 2 out of 3. And they are 3-2 in their last 5 as well. Blue Jays are a team who, pitching hasn't been great. I think that's been their biggest weakness to this season. I would say their offense has been pretty good. Guys like Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Matt Chapman, they've been having great seasons, but I think their pitching has really, really been kind of the shitter for their season. Obviously, guys like Alek Manoah hasn't been, what he should be. We're really going to have to see, I guess, what the Blue Jays are going to go out. Obviously, they have somewhat of decent pitching going up the series, not as, Alek Manoah, who's really been let up and he's been a kind of a thorn. Jose Barrios, Yusei Kikuchi, Like I said, that's kind of been the thorn to their season. So, Mets can relate. But getting into game 1 tonight, black jersey night, Friday, my favorite. As you can see, I'm wearing the black jersey. The Mets will have Justin Verlander on the bump for them. And, Verlander's trying to come back up a good outing. Obviously, he pitched in Colorado and got lit up. Take it with a grain of salt. It's Colorado, the Coors Field effect or the air. But, Verlander's been pitching pretty well at home for the most part. So we'll see if he can continue that success. Obviously, 2-2 in the season, 4.80 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. It's only a 30-inning sample size, so really can't judge it too much. But, he's been striking out guys at a decent amount of rate. Doesn't really walk a lot of guys. Mix up his pitches well. Give you 6, 7 innings. I think I'll be more than satisfied with an outing from JB tonight. Then obviously for the Toronto Blue Jays, they will have a familiar face for Mets fans, and that is Chris Bassitt. Obviously, Bassitt has started off his career in Toronto pretty bad. Last couple, appearances, he's actually been doing pretty good. He lowered a lot of his metrics, but he is 5-4, 3.80 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. Obviously, you can see with Bassitt, he still has the concern with the long ball. Obviously, one inadequate pitch could put a ball, 410 feet in the bleachers. So we'll see maybe guys like Alonso or Lindor or maybe Alvarez or whoever else is in the lineup can definitely take advantage of that. But Mets fans are pretty familiar with Bassitt. So that'll be tonight at 7:10. Getting into game 2, tomorrow's game, which will be a 4:10 start. The Mets will have Tyler McGill. Yeah, McGill is really going to need to get his shit together, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's been very unwatchable this season. 5-3, 4.63, 4.67 ERA, 1.59 WHIP. The walks have been poisoned. I mean, this dude walks the ballpark. The usage of his cutter isn't there. His stride is much more shortened this season. And he's a completely different pitcher than what he was last year and in 2021. He does not look like that dominant McGill anymore. He looks like a confused, lost McGill with a short stride, whose velocity is down and is only throwing a fastball and slider, and either getting too much plate or not enough plate, and then he's walking the ballpark and then giving up a lot of power and home runs. So, I love McGill, but it's going to start. He's going to hear it. If he does not have a good outing, he is going to hear it from the fans. I have no doubt, because obviously, I think right now he's trying to. Obviously, I think his spot is definitely in jeopardy. Obviously, when Quintana comes back, no doubt in my mind that he will lose that spot to Quintana if he continues pitching bad. Even if he pitches average, I still think he'll lose it. I mean, I think Carrasco and Senga and everyone else is still pitching well. I still think McGill's the odd man out. kind of first one hired, or when it comes to seniority, I think he'd obviously be last. So, yeah, and then obviously that'll be McGill. So give me 5, 6, 7 innings, run or two, maybe three. Got to keep the Mets in the ball game. You can't go, 4 1/3 and give up 6 runs. And then, bullpen for the next half. You can't have that. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And then obviously for the Toronto Blue Jays, they will have Jose Barrios. Barrios, yeah, pretty solid season, 5-4, 3.86 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. He's a deadly strikeout guy, doesn't walk a lot of guys, doesn't give up a lot of homers. So decent velocity. So we'll see what the Mets can get onto him. And obviously, game 3 in the final game of this 3-game set. Sunday's game, which will be a 1:40 start. The Mets will have Kodai Senga on 4 days rest. This will be something we'll see how Senga does. We know that for most of the season, he's really been pitching on 6 days rest or even 7 days rest. As that's what he did in the Japanese league. But this will be a test for him. Obviously, I think he'll take it to his advantage. I really do. So yeah, Senga will be on the bump for the Mets then. Obviously, Senga 5-3, 3.44 ERA, 1.35 WHIP. Yeah, Senga's been looking good. Like I said, if he could, keep the ball in the strike zone, limit the walks, I expect a really, really, really good outing from Kodai Senga. And then obviously for the Blue Jays, they will have Yusei Kikuchi, the lefty, who has not been having the best season. 6-2, 4.47 ERA. So you could argue his offense is a big part to his success, but 1.40 WHIP. The hits are there. He strikes out a decent amount of guys, but the home runs are there. A lot of hard contact from Kikuchi. So he's a lefty. We know the Mets have not been hitting extremely well against lefties. So probably going to see Tommy Pham in the lineup, which I'm honestly done complaining about at this rate. It's really not worth it. I don't imagine people will go back in the lineup. So, yeah, obviously 3 games set. Mets are coming in. Morale is high. They've been playing very well at home. They won their past 6, 7, or 8 games at home. 3-game sweep against the Phillies. Looking at the Mets, their pitching has been pretty solid lately. Their offense has been average to mediocre. Same with the Blue Jays. Their pitching has been pretty bad, but their offense has been really, really good. And I think if the Mets can go out there and contain Bo Bichette, Matt Chapman, I think you can definitely have favoritism on the Mets side. And I think coming into it, taking 2 of 3 would be ideal. You want to win the series. A sweep would be great. I could see it, but I also can't. So I think if the Mets can go out there and easily take 2 or 3, I would be more than satisfied coming onto the stream. You take 1 of 3, I'm not going to be thrilled, but, it is what it is. And then if you lose all 3, I probably will be very upset on the next stream. So take 2 or 3. That's all I'm asking for. Take 2 or 3, and then you easily walk away from this homestand 5-1. And that's what they did last time against the Guardians and Rays, and everyone was very happy. When you go on the road, the Mets have been pretty inadequate when playing on the road. So, that's a new ball game. You'll cross that bridge when it comes. Finish this series and then focus on the Braves and the Pirates and all that other stuff down the line. So, yeah, we're going to have to see how that goes. Like I said, take 2 of 3. That's really all I'm asking for is just 2 of 3. So we'll see how that can go. Yeah. So Mets, Blue Jays tonight. And that's really all I got with the Mets and Blue Jays. So let's stop wasting any more time and let's dive into your guys' comments, questions, concerns. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to drop it in the comment section below and we will dive right into it. So what is going on, everyone? Hopefully everyone is doing well. Lane, that is right. I do remember you are going to the Blue Jays game tonight, right? Yeah, tonight. So hopefully you have fun, man. Hopefully you're a good luck charm for the Mets. But what's going on, Lane, Gio, Brad? How's everyone doing? Seth, Captain Morgan, Trey, Michael, Alyssa, Christina, Ivan Dos, Peter, Connor. Oh, good to see you, man. Cal, Kobe. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Seth says the biggest takeaway from the series is how vital our pitching staff success is going to be. And absolutely, man. I mean, cannot say it enough. The quality starts is very, very important. If the Mets pitching staff can go out there and keep you in this ball game, you get 5, 6, 7 innings, a run or two, saves the whole team. It saves the offense, and it definitely saves this overtaxed and burdened bullpen. By no means. Trey, what's going on? Trey says, I really like Senga. His passion and discipline on the mound is superb. It is. I think Senga's a very respectful ball player. I really do like what he holds, and happy he's a Met. Cal says, awesome to see starting pitching come together. Very exciting for sure. And then watching Mark Canha have a breakthrough to help the team win was great. I pray that the Mets can keep that rolling against the Jays. Yeah, no, like I said, consistency is going to be huge. The Mets can go out there and keep their appearances consistent. I think you could expect some good things. Alex, what's going on? The Ghost Fork, absolutely. Talking Mets with Rob, he says, what's going on? He says, season not over. Woohoo. Our fourth outfielder is doing really good. Yeah, I'll tell you, Mark Canha really is turning it around. And, I don't know what it is with Canha. I don't know if it was the pitch clock. I don't know if it was just a shitty start. But, the Mets, this offense cannot succeed without guys like Canha or Marte playing well. You have Alonso, you have McNeil, you have Nimmo, you have Lindor, sure. But you cannot rely on only 4 people. And yeah, you could say Alvarez too, so that's 5, Beatty 6. But, if Marte and Canha are just not going to play, those are guys that, how many games, would you say were those 2 guys helpful in winning last year? You saw in September when Marte went down, essentially the whole offense collapsed. Obviously, Canha, is a great OBP guy, getting on base, passing the baton. And the Mets not having that presence is definitely a huge impact for this Mets team. So that is why I say it enough. The Mets need guys like Mark Canha and Starling Marte to both produce. Because if you don't have both of those guys, arguably, this is going to look like a completely different offense. 2 guys that offer 2 different things. Canha, great OBP guy, passing the baton. But Marte offers, decent on-base percentage, speed, and a threat on the base paths. And, you look on it. If they're getting on, the bottom of the lineup, and, don't get me wrong, I'm sure every Met fan and Buck Showalter would love to see Starling Marte back in the number 2 hole. I guarantee you that, because I will say I'm not big on Lindor in the number 2 hole. I don't really like it crazy much. But sooner rather than later, if Marte continues to pick it up, maybe you see Marte back in the 2 hole. And I think a lot of Mets fans and Buck Showalter and the coaching staff would be thrilled to see Marte back in the 2 hole. And you see something like Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, Canha, something around those lines. When it comes to Alvarez batting 9th, I do like a threat in the number 9 hole, because then it's like, oh, number 9 guy, sit him down. So I do still like a threat, because then it's like Alvarez gets on or does something, then it's boom, you got the top of the order. So, I would like Alvarez a little higher in the lineup. But like I said, we're really going to have to see how guys like Marte and Canha continue to play. Canha's always going to bat lower in the lineup. That's just how he's going to be. But what's the news on Edwin Diaz? Yeah, Trey. So we've heard that there is some news with Diaz this season, that there's a possibility he may come back in October. So we'll see. I think that'd be great to see Narco playing in the playoffs. Christina says, if our pitching can keep this up, we will be fine. Absolutely. I agree. Pitching wins championships. Captain Morgan asks the $1 million question: why is Daniel Vogelbach still on the team? I really don't know. Probably because Buck Showalter, OBP. It's probably the only reason he's still on this team. The most useless player for this Mets team. Cannot hit lefties. Doesn't even swing the bat half the time. Offers no power. And yeah, sure, he's an OBP guy, but he's not a threat on the base. He's not stealing. He's a station-to-station guy. If anything, he's a liability on the base paths. So I really don't know why Buck Showalter would rather see him on that batter's box than Vientos. At least Vientos is swinging the bat, and at least he puts the ball in play, and at least hits the ball hard. When you hit the ball hard, good things eventually will happen. And I mean, Vogelbach, he has what, 3 plate appearances? I mean, he doesn't even play the full game because, coming like the 6th, 7th inning, is a lefty in, and Buck takes him out, puts in Vientos or Beatty. I'm done with Vogelbach. The Vogelbach experiment is over. Same for Pham. Use Pham as a 4th outfielder. That's all. Michael says, Mark, can of corn? Absolutely. Lane says, let's get Justin Verlander a big win tonight for the Mets. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. Timothy says, hey, Hayden, when are the Mets going to call up Mauricio from the minors? Yeah, I mean, right now there hasn't really been much talk of that lately. Like 2 weeks ago, everyone was Mauricio, but, lately the Mets have been winning games. And I think, everyone's kind of taken a little bit of a step back on Mauricio. At least it's my observation. I could definitely be totally wrong. But, yeah, I don't really know what the situation is with Mauricio right now. We know that they tried putting him at second base and hasn't looked great at second base in the minor leagues. I mean, I've been a proponent of putting him in the outfield, but that's just me saying that for the last 2 years. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Mauricio's been hitting the ball very well, a lot of power, hard contact, barrels, plenty of home runs, extra base hits, slugging, on-base percentage average is all there for him. And I think if Mauricio continues to keep it up for another month or so, I definitely think there's a world where, if a guy like Marte or Canna or, whoever else is just still struggling, and that he gets the call up. Kobe says, this week showed how important our starting pitching is. And when they throw a quality start, it's an automatic win. Pretty much. I've said it enough. When this team goes out there and throws a quality start, you're going to win the game. You are going to win the game. Unless for whatever reason they have one bad inning and then they dial in for the next, 6, 7. But if your team's going to go out there, pitching wins championships. I say it enough. Captain Morgan says they should play Mark Vientos at DH every day. Yeah, I mean, I would at least say 5 or 6 out of the 7 days. I mean, I don't know why Buck Showalter doesn't put him on the lineup. And I think if it comes to the point where if, Vientos, who I still think is a guy who's still developing, is rotting on the bench and is, only going to be starting 2 games a week and, maybe come into a game once or twice a week in the 7th inning, send him back down to AAA then. Because I'd rather him go down to AAA and play every day and continue to, expand and grow and learn as a player than sit on the bench and make 2 starts as a DH or, 1 as a third baseman and then come into the 7th inning like once or twice a game and only have 1 plate appearance. I mean, that's stupid. If that's the case, send him back down to AAA. He's learning, and he's not going to learn on the bench. I'd rather him learn in AAA playing every day. And, I don't know if Buck Showalter's putting out Vogelbach and Pham more often just to kind of show a message to Billy Epler and say, listen, these guys aren't working. I have Vientos, but I think I need more. And I don't know if that is the case, but we'll see. Alyssa, what's going on? Alyssa says, getting good starting pitching and finally hitting for power. Yep. That's the goal to this team's success. Been saying it for years or months. Christina says, I hope the Mets player remember Bassett so they hit him well. Hopefully. Cal says, get the brooms out. I love it. Absolutely. One of the Mets revealing their City Connect jerseys, says Seth. Yeah, we haven't heard anything. Obviously, they're not releasing them this year. I believe probably next year they're going to release them. So I think next year would be a good time to release them. Eric, what's going on? He says, Hayden, I've been watching all your videos and live broadcasts and like for information. Keep it up. I appreciate it, man. Trace is one with the last baby Met. Mauricio joined the party. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I would say right now, just if this team's winning ball games, I think they'd rather keep Mauricio to continue to develop in AAA. Do I think he's ready for the major league pitching yet? Yeah, that is the one thing I do kind of still question. So yeah, like I said, keep him in AAA for another month and then we'll see how things go. But continuing if things really go south, and I'd rather lose with him than Vogelbach and Pham. Captain Morgan says, great series sweep. Had so much fun going to game 2. Keep this up against the Blue Jays before round 2 against Atlanta. Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with that. Haley, what's going on? Haley says, if the rotation can do this 6-7 innings every game for twice through, I may start trusting them again. 23 Mets are Lindor's team, hot and cold. It's like last year, September on repeat. Only starting pitching can settle them down. And I agree. Like I said, this isn't an offense. I think this is, call me crazy. I think this is an average lineup. I don't think this is a crazy, crazy lineup. I think it has the potential to be if guys like Marte and Canna can wake up. And, if we see a lineup of, Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, Lindor, and then on top of that, if guys like Canna and Marte start playing very well, and Beatty plays very well, and Alvarez continues to do what he does, Vientos could be a hot DH, then yeah, this is a good lineup. But you have a lot of holes right now and a lot of inconsistencies from players. I love Lindor, but he's been really home run and low average, low OBP. If Lindor can work on getting on base more, and like I said, the lower part of this order could start contributing, yeah, this is a really lethal lineup. But right now, it's just an average one. Go Mets says Lane, absolutely. Gio says Brooks Raley has been phenomenal this past month. Big part to this bullpen success. No, it has been, absolutely. And I've always said that Brooks Raley could be this sneaky, like Aaron Luke 2.0 guy. I really do like what this guy can hold. Really a nice lefty, goes out there, kind of faces the threats in the opposing team's order. And I think that's very important. And, looking at this bullpen, when Diaz went down, everyone was kind of like, oh my God, our bullpen's done. But, there's kind of been 4 guys that have really kind of been keeping this bullpen alive. Obviously, David Robertson has been huge. Brooks Raley has been huge. Ottavino's been okay. And then I would say Drew Smith has been okay. So those are kind of 4 guys that have been keeping it alive. Obviously, guys like Leon and Agosuk. I don't really see why, the Mets put or optioned Yacobonis. Could have easily, optioned Agosuk or Leon. But, if the Mets, potentially can call up a guy like Lucchesi, put him in a bullpen role, Josh Walker, 2 nice lefties there. But, the Mets have their lefty in Brooks Raley. Captain Morgan says need more consistency from McGill and especially Verlander. Senga needs to learn to pitch on the road. Carrasco needs to prove he can offer more than just 2 good outings. His next start is a big task. Braves in Atlanta. Yeah, and Braves have – Mets had what? Trailing the Braves by 8. Now they're what, 3.5 games? So who knows? Maybe it's this year. Maybe this year's our turn to chase him from behind. But, with that said, I agree. I think, Carrasco looked good his last 2 outings. He had the bone chips removed, so maybe that was kind of the big issue for him. Senga, yeah, he's going to need to learn to pitch on the road. I don't know if it's a mental thing, if it's a mound thing. I really don't know what it is, but hopefully that's kind of something he just really gets down under his belt soon. Scherzer's been looking good. But yeah, Verlander, we'll see. He's been kind of on and off this season, Verlander. So we're really going to have to see how that goes. But I agree. Pitching needs to be successful. How strong is the Mets bullpen, would you say? He says, I feel since we lost Diaz, it was a blow, but still decent. Yeah, I still think it's a decent bullpen. I think it's just you cannot overtax this bullpen is all. LGM, what's going on, sports fan? Lane says, how do you feel about the Yankees? Yeah, Yankees are a good team. Judge has been playing very well. Rizzo, some of their younger guys. Christina says, do you think they will be trading any of the prospects? I heard rumors that they are trading Parada for pitching depth. What do you think of that? I haven't heard anything about trading for pitching and giving up potential prospects or Kevin Parada or what sort. I think if you look at it right now, the trade deadline is what it was like August 1st. So it's about 2 months away. It really depends, I guess, what you're getting. Everyone says, oh, Shohei. I don't think that's – I don't think the Mets are getting Shohei Ohtani. But, if you're going to be going for a guy like I see in the chat, someone says Alexis Diaz or a decent power bat, yeah, I think Parada would potentially be a guy to go. I think the Mets right now aren't giving anyone up on the active roster. I don't think you'd give any of the prospects of Alvarez, Beatty, or Vientos up. I think if there's really any trade, I think any of the prospects that would go are going to be Parada, Mauricio. I don't think they get rid of Mike Vasil. I think they like him. So I think like Parada, Mauricio are kind of like the two guys. But like I said, it really depends what you're getting. And if you're getting like I don't want to get a rental and you give them up, like that'd be stupid. But, if the Mets can go out there, try and get some successful power bat guy who's historically good, I'm all for it. But I don't want the Mets giving up guys like Parada and Mauricio for, the bum fucks like Vogelbach and, Darren Ruff and him trying to play, Vogelbach has an ex-Woba of 380s against lefties. No. I want an all-around proven player, not some bullshit, half money ball guy. Cal says, when is Jose Quintana expected to return? Good question. He was throwing at Citi Field yesterday in the bullpen. Jeremy Hefner was watching. He was in uniform. So hopefully he could have a rehab start. If Quintana can have a rehab start, in a week or two, he'll probably have 2-3 rehab starts. You could expect him back maybe by the end of the month. And that'd be huge. Trey says, for God's sake, stick Vientos at DH. He'll give you 25 homers. There's nothing to think about. I agree. Captain Morgan says, should the Mets trade for Alexis Diaz from the Reds, and then we have a good closer, and then the Diaz brothers? That would be pretty, I was thinking of that before. That actually would be pretty electric. Like, Jesus Christ, what, like Rayleigh Robertson for the 7th, and then Alexis for the 8th, and Edwin for the 9th. That's lethal. That is lethal. Alexis Diaz would be a nice guy. Very, very similar to his brother, Edwin. Good velocity, fastball slider. Get a little iffy with a command, but if his command's there, he's unhittable. So I definitely would be in favor of signing a guy like Alexis Diaz. So if anyone else has any more comments, questions, concerns, feel free to continue to drop them in the comment section below. Kobe says, would love to see an increase in home runs with runners in scoring position. Not just solo shots, but we'll take what we can get. Yeah. Like I said, it is what it is. Like I said, if you're driving in runs, great. But I really would like to see this Mets team start to hit with guys in scoring position, which they are. They're hitting with 2 outs. We're seeing a lot of fundamental hitting. But I would like to start seeing more 3-run grand slam homers. Those in the solo shots, 2-run shots, they're great, but you definitely want to see them clearing the bases more. A lot of extra base hits, and this team is hitting for power more lately. This team had 5 games without a home run, and now they have 16, 15 straight games with a home run. And they're 11-4 or 10-5 in their last 15. And so home runs. This team cannot rely on small ball, slap the ball mentality funnel. It does not work. This isn't 1963 anymore. In 2023, I am a firm believer that you need power in a lineup. Look at the Guardians. They're a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs. And what are they, 20-26 right now? We swept them. You need home runs. Look at the Rays. Look at the Yankees. Look at the Braves. They hit home runs, and look where they are. You need power. You have your guys like Nimmo and McNeil to get on, and then Alonso, Lindor, and Alvarez drive them in. That is what you need. Teddy says, wait for Ohtani free agent, 400 to 450 million in 10 years. That'd be a fucking crazy deal. It's insane to think about. That'd be, I want to say Trout's 420, 425. So, I could definitely see a world, Teddy, where Ohtani gets the highest AAV, regardless of that, but the highest contract as a whole. That'd be absolutely insane. It's insane to think about. But like I said, we could talk about Ohtani all day. Obviously, I think the Mets are a candidate. I think the Yankees are a candidate. I think pretty much all the top, budget, the top 5 payrolls of teams that are going to be of choice: the Mets, the Yankees, the Padres. I could see someone on the West Coast like the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Giants. You never know. You never know. Trey says, will Brandon Nimmo win a Gold Glove this season? I think there's a pretty decent chance. I mean, considering how great he's been defensively, and MLB actually recognizes him on MLB Network and their Twitter and Instagram. So maybe that'll actually get his knowledge out to fans, because he is by far one of the most underrated players in the game. I think the Mets have a lot of underrated players. Jeff McNeil, very underrated. Brandon Nimmo, very underrated. So I would say right now, Nimmo is by far one of the most underrated players in baseball. And yeah, I would like to see him win a Gold Glove. I think he deserves it. I think he was robbed last year. So yeah, I would like to see him win a Gold Glove. Krista says he needs to be an All-Star this year. I think he will. Nimmo needs to be an All-Star this year. I think he will. I think he'll be an All-Star this year. Gold Glove, I think it's like 50-50. I don't know if Nimmo will get the fan votes for the All-Star, but I think MLB will put him in, because MLB will kind of realize, baseball fans are kind of stupid and can't really vote for the All-Stars, because they're voting for, guys with a 200 average, or, guys that have only played 5 games. Which I mean, personally, when it comes to the All-Star voting, I don't think fans should be able to vote. I think it should just be MLB. Yeah. I don't know if Nimmo will get the fan vote, but he'll definitely get the MLB and the player vote. So we'll see how that can go for them down the line. Teddy says, if that's the case, 500 million, 10 years, no Yankees, LOL. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it's crazy to think about. I mean, the hypotheticals of what Ohtani can actually get. I mean, it's mind-boggling, really is. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say Mets probably. You look at the teams that probably have the highest payroll, and then a couple other teams. Say the West Coast. Listen, there's a world where we could see him stay in Anaheim, and like I said, I mean, there are reports if the Angels are in contention, I don't think they're going to trade him at the deadline. And right now they're in contention, and that's crazy enough to say. That division, all those teams besides the A's are actually playing well. The Astros, the Rangers, the Mariners, and the Angels. It's just the Athletics are shit. So I mean that helps them out a lot, but. Yeah, I mean, I can only it's insane to think about. But yeah, if anyone else has any more comments, questions, concerns, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I will probably call it a stream in a couple of minutes, as we're almost at the hour mark. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cohen has the money, but so do a lot of other owners. But I guess it's really just going to come down to. It's really going to come down to, I think, relations more than the money, I feel. I don't know. Everyone says, oh, the only reason Epler's here is so we can get Ohtani. And if that's the real reason, then that's one of the stupidest things I've heard of. You're going to bring a GM in just to get one player. I find that pretty dumb, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, when it comes to the Ohtani talk, I'm very vague about it, because there's just so many what ifs. Favorite ballpark, says Gio. That I've been to. I mean, there's a lot of good ballparks out there. I am going to a couple this summer. This summer, I am going to Rogers Center for 2 games, Comerica for 1, Wrigley for 1, Guaranteed for 1, and I may be going to Progressive Field for 1 potentially. So I'm going to those. Out of the ones I've been to, I mean, I've been to City, I've been to Yankee, I've been to Fenway, been to Wrigley, been to Lone Depot, been to Comerica. Yeah, I don't know. I would argue. Maybe Fenway. I don't know. Fenway has the historical vibe. I really liked Wrigley when I went. I went last year and they weren't a good team, but they lost both games, but still. I mean, the atmosphere was electric at Wrigley. I mean, you had the cup snake, you had all the young college kids running around all drunk and everything. It was electric. It was fun vibes. I don't really know. It's kind of like I can't really think of my favorite ballpark. I would sit here and say Citi Field. I do think Citi Field is a nice ballpark. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold, but like I've heard like Yankee fans and other MLB team fans, tell me Citi Field's nice. So I'm gonna be boring and say Citi Field. Maybe with Senga here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Has Senga pitched with Ohtani in Japan? They may have. I mean, they're a similar age. They may actually have. You never. That actually is a good point, Teddy. I think they are similar ages. They may. So yeah, probably gonna call it a stream here. I do really appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's stream. As always, it was a phenomenal stream. Obviously, in today's stream, we went over the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series summary, summarizing really just the good in that series, not much bad or not much ugly. We went over that. We went over the New York Mets and the Toronto Blue Jays series preview. So essentially what we can expect in that series. A lot of good things to keep an eye out for. Of course, we did go over your guys' comments, questions, concerns, everything related to the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, trade deadline, the farm system, prospects, Kevin Parada, Mike Vassell, all of that great stuff. So yeah, I really do appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you are rewatching this on replay, I appreciate you guys for tuning into the stream. As always, please everyone give this video a like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Let's get to 800 subscribers by the All-Star break. We're at 772. So I think that'd be a nice goal to shoot for. Yeah. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for tuning into today's stream. LFGM, let's go Mets. Mets, Blue Jays tonight, 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. Take 2 or 3 out of the series, and you could see me Monday or Sunday. We'll see when I'll do the stream, but you'll see me one of those 2 days, and you will see me pretty happy. So with that said, let's go Mets. Take 2 or 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays, and I'll be happy. Otherwise, hopefully everyone enjoys their weekend. June is here, and hey, the Mets are undefeated in June. They're 1-0. Let's make it 2-0. Hey, if we make it 4-0, I'll come on the stream and I don't know. I'll do something funny. But yeah, otherwise, LFGM, let's go Mets. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Give this video a like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that post notification bell so you never miss a stream or video. And yeah, essentially that is all I got. Let's go Mets. Let's go baseball. And yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. LFGM, let's go Mets. Mets Nation, that's right.